Pokemon Quest has received its first update, so let's check it out. Currently, it's only available for the Nintendo Switch, but an update for mobile is expected soon, and it's probably going to have the same changes, and there it is. Not too long after recording the video, we have Pokemon Quest version 1.0.2 now available for mobile, but this is actually quite a different patch. That Pokemon Quest on the Switch had a version 1.1 update that gives 500 PM tickets, fixed a lot of bugs, but there are some minor bug fixes with this one. However, it does not fix the time glitch. I thought it was going to take like maybe a few days or a little while extra to the version 1.1 or 1.0.2 on mobile because they were fixing the time glitch, but that is still in the game. So that makes things a little interesting. Pretty much you like screw around with the clock. You know, people have been wanting me to talk about this. I'm not playing on mobile, I'm mostly on Switch when it comes to this. But you know, you screw around with the clock and then you can reset the battery and also have new daily Pokemon show up. It doesn't give you the PM tickets, so it can't be like super scammy like that. But yeah, that's a time glitch that's available inside Pokemon Quest that hasn't been patched right now. And also, instead of giving the 500 PM tickets, there's a new quest. If you back up your data, you get 100 PM tickets. And I don't think that's like a worry or any reason to freak out or anything, because Pokemon Switch has been out for over a month. So maybe when Pokemon Quest on mobile has been out for over a month, when they actually do a bigger 1.1 patch, like this is just a small update. Maybe they weren't able to fix the time glitch, or maybe they have a couple other things that they want to patch. But with this, they did like the smaller fixes that we saw on the Nintendo Switch. So that's going to be the mobile update, and then the rest of the video I recorded when we only had the Switch patch notes. So it's kind of going to be from that angle, but I still think the rest of the video holds up. And then as we get in the future, we can see if mobile gets 500 PM tickets, if there's other updates, or if there's other patches that end up affecting the game to a pretty large extent. Alright, enjoy. That if you download the game fresh today on the Nintendo Switch, when you download 1.1, every player receives 500 free PM tickets. Now this just seems like a direct balance change right here, because a lot of people, they get really disappointed really quickly, especially when you look at the decorations. They are fairly expensive, like 300 for the Charizard Torch, Venusaur Planter, like all this stuff, 50 each for the Cushion. It feels like you need to pay the DLC to actually get a decent start at the game, but with 500 free, that means you're looking at a Bulbasaur flag, all the Cushions, maybe all the Cushions, and then one of the Planters and one of the large editions of your choice, and that's going to be very powerful. Or you can just kind of get a lot of extra resets. So I think that that's mostly to keep new players around, and then maybe even consider DLC because of that. Like, oh hey, it's gonna be easier to invest in the game now that everyone gets 500 PM tickets. So I think that's a pretty cool update, and it might actually bring people back or get people more interested in the game to begin with. Now, the other changes are going to be bug fixes and quality of life stuff. One of them is actually really nice, especially for me recording videos. You might notice that when I go into a battle that my audio, my voice gets drowned out because it's really loud. So it seems like they have done some audio balancing as well. Now, I still have to change the audio settings inside, so making the game slightly quieter, but the buffing noise was really loud, and just the battles are louder than anything else in the game. If you're adding Pokemon cooking, all the extra sound effects, just kind of playing the game and stuff. So it seems like they have tweaked that as well. Another thing that has changed is that the escape glitch is patched. You see that right there? This should have been a successful escape glitch because I hit it on the right spot, because it has like that little yellow outline when you touch on it. But yeah, no matter where you click, no matter how you try to spam it, or you can't do the infinite evade glitch. So that's been patched, kind of showing that even gameplay affecting bugs and glitches have been fixed, and this one may be one of the biggest ones. Also, since I was on manual, I didn't use the bulk up again. But either way, like, you know, this isn't about showing the gameplay, it's about showing off the fixes and changes. So the sounds are better, the runaway or the escape glitch has been fixed. There's a couple of other bug changes, like people are saying that the UI glitch has been solved as well, that sometimes the bottom right here just kind of like glitches out when you're in auto mode or even in manual mode, that when you use a move, it doesn't show going on cooldown, and if you're in auto, it actually doesn't register. So you can use a move, it'll stay ready to use, it'll keep trying to use the move, but it never goes off cooldown, and I've actually lost runs on auto because of that. So anyone that's played the game for a decent amount of time might have experienced it. That's been fixed as well. And then another fix has also been just some other UI changes, some things that are reading out incorrectly, such as hit healing. So you might notice there's like a 10.9% hit healing, or if you have between 9 and 10%, it just rounds up to 10%. So now all of these stats of your Pokemon will be accurate on top of all the other changes, and I think that's kind of it for Pokemon Quest. depending on how you view this one, it could be a really massive change. Like the 500 free PM tickets right there for all players. And that is a huge quality of life change for a lot of players. I feel like it might even get people to start playing the game, you know? They're not going to see it as this super greedy freemium game that steals your time and you don't get to play. Like, I will keep defending the Pokemon Quest DLC because, one, you can't make repeat purchases. That once you buy all the DLC, that's done. The game has a $48 cap. It's not like you can just keep buying PM tickets or buying battery charges to where if you spend several $100s on the game, you're going to have a massive advantage. No, effectively, you pay $30 and then it becomes a full game. You pay the extra $18 and then it becomes even more of a full game. So you can just treat it like a real Nintendo Switch title for less than the average title of a Nintendo Switch. Now, it's not a main AAA or major release game, but it's definitely a game, and it's a game that won't restrict you if you just put in a small amount of money into it. But the 500 free PM tickets, the game itself, since it can be beaten in such a short amount of time through just understanding the game and speedrunning, that's actually going to be enough to just maybe make it to where the game doesn't feel broken or doesn't feel like it's trying to inhibit you in any way. So I think that's pretty awesome. But now I want to transition the video into Johto. That's pretty much the next topic right here. And the biggest question I want to ask is, will you play the game if you haven't played the game yet? Like, that's one of the big things I'm interested in, is that people that haven't played Pokemon Quest, just on pure refusal, will it actually get them to convert just off the introduction of Johto? I've seen a lot of people that they just won't play this game because they think it's too small, and honestly, it's like 50 stages, how many worlds? I think Happenstance Island was world 12. And that's including like the Chamber of Legends and stuff. So there's not a lot to this game. And then when you make it to the end game, the replayability is just going for a faster time and getting a perfect team. But you definitely don't need a perfect team. You definitely don't need insane strategy to beat the game. And you can beat the game in about a week. If you buy the DLC, like even under DLC, the speedrun is about twice as long. So I mean, 1 to 2 weeks without DLC, under a week with DLC, few days if you're overly dedicated, and then 4 hours if you're speedrunning it. And now this PM ticket change is going to make that a lot better for everyone. So yeah, it is kind of a quick game. Again, I feel that if you don't use guides or if you don't try to like bully everything with bulk up and then hydro pump, the game definitely has, you know, several hundred hours of gameplay. I have over 200 hours of gameplay. My first week had about 60 hours of gameplay in it and stuff like that. So yeah, if you feel that playing a game for 30 to 60 hours justifies a $48 price tag, then DLC works out, but adding anything to it is going to be amazing. So I feel that people just aren't playing the game because they don't think it's enough. Like, oh, it's only Generation 1. You know, people somehow get upset about only Generation 1 stuff. You know, if you're a fan, it's just that Pokemon is Pokemon. But now let's talk about this right here in the corner, because I know people have been wanting me to do this since effectively day one of Pokemon Quest on the Nintendo Switch over a month ago, and I just haven't really found a way of talking about it because, yeah, there's like this little island right here in the corner, and a lot of rumors is that's Johto. That's a tease that there's another area that we get to go to, and the game will definitely expand, and the game's expansion makes a lot of sense, because I think the biggest impact, or like the biggest discussion point of Pokemon Quest receiving a update, just any update, shows that the game is willing to be expanded. They're not going to leave it in a broken state. They want more players to play because of the 500 PM ticket gift. Like, when you think about it, the evade glitch, not the worst. You know, you look at old school games, like before games could be patched, there were major glitches that just couldn't be fixed anyway. Sometimes you get like a cartridge update, so the newer cartridges would have some of the fixes inside of them. We see that even on like the Nintendo 64 and older games like that. But for the most part, if this was just a stupid money grab, then they could leave these bug fixes in because they really don't justify updating the game. But one thing is, we've seen updates for many of the mobile games, including Pokemon Shuffle as well as Pokemon Duel. Pokemon Duel was released in 2016, and it is still getting balance changes. Our Cerebi update, Pokemon Duel to receive a balance patch tomorrow, July 10th. 2018, so over 2 years after Pokemon Duel. You know, as Nintendo is starting to do, like Nintendo, they did a 180 on mobile games. That years ago they said they don't want to get into the mobile market. Even Game Freak was like, we're not making mobile games. You know, we're not going to like try to cater to this new generation. But now we have Pokemon Shuffle. Like, Pokemon Shuffle on 3DS made sense, but then when it came to mobile, that was massive. That was a huge change. That just kind of shows that mobile games are getting very large support from Nintendo, from Game Freak, especially when it comes to Pokemon stuff like that. And Pokemon Shuffle, this game's from February 2015. Like, we saw some updates on the 3DS, you know, like Mew was introduced, some extra Pokemon were slowly being added because it started off as a very small game. First version, rather standard version, contains 150 standard stages, 20 expert stages, 158 different species of Pokemon, and it also had the stamina bar, but you can pay your way through it. So it does have like a pretty heavy monetary value behind it. I think it was limited to where you can only spend like $100 a day or $100 in like a certain amount of time. So you just couldn't like mega pay to win it. But overall, like, yeah, there were, like, you could spend a lot of money in Pokemon Shuffle, even on 3DS. It came to mobile, there were more updates, but now there's hundreds of Pokemon. This also shows with a trailer that the Pokemon company did, you know, make way for lone Pokemon in Pokemon Shuffle. That was on April 25th, 2017. So even 2 years after, over 2 years after the game came out, they're like, oh, by the way, we had new Pokemon, we had a new generation, and then they updated Pokemon Shuffle to that new generation. And as we all know with Pokemon Go, when they announced, like, that's the only difference. The only difference between Pokemon Quest and Pokemon, like, Go is that when it came to adding future generations, because with Pokemon Shuffle, they had a lot of Pokemon from a lot of different generations. Pokemon Duel was the same thing. This is the only thing that's similar to Pokemon Go in that we started Generation 1, but Pokemon Go, they announced they want all the generations inside the game, and then we got Johto, like around 6 to 7 months, we started seeing the first Johto Pokemon coming into play. So what my best case scenario is we get Johto in Pokemon Quest September, October-ish, like before, like if we get Johto before Pokemon Let's Go, that'd be amazing. I want this game to get a new generation about every 4 months or so. I feel that'd be really in line with like the new Pokemon games, because Let's Go, depending on the lifespan of that game, if it lasts about 5 to 6 months, and then we can come back to Pokemon Quest for Hoenn update on top of Johto, there's gonna be a lot of gameplay going around with Pokemon in general, and I feel that the Pokemon Company needs that quite a lot. And even when we look at Pokemon Shuffle, they've done crazy updates. They have Generation 7 Pokemon in. To keep up with the new flood of Pokemon, they have the Safari, they have escalation battles, they have the one-time-a-week battles, they have competitive battles, they have daily rotations, they have all these weekly rotations. It's nutty. Well, not daily rotations, but they have weekly rotations. It's pretty crazy what Pokemon Quest has introduced, and even then, they don't even have, like, full Pokemon, Lugia, Costume, Pikachu. So they have like all these little extras inside of it, and they just keep adding more and more content to the game, even though you're thinking Pokemon Shuffle, that 3-year-old game, isn't it dead? Well, depending on like how much revenue it's actually generating on the mobile side, it continues to get updated. In Pokemon Quest, it's already made $3 million in revenue for mobile alone in its first week. So if Johto does like convert people, if that actually adds to a couple more million downloads because now people see it as a valid game, then that justifies actually developing for it. Same with Pokemon Duel. All these games receive patches. They keep getting updated, which I think is pretty cool. And if we look at some of these, stage 644. You know, there's hundreds of stages. There's special stages. There's all these new Pokemon being introduced. So I think that's pretty cool, and that's why it brings back to like Pokemon Quest. It has to get Johto update at some point. I did a video talking about it where the DLC, oh, not DLC, the data mine has placeholders that a lot of things that were introduced, even though it's only Generation 1 Pokemon, the moves are not Generation 1. That bulk up isn't a Generation 1 move, that some of these new effects and stuff that we see inside the game, they're actually from future generations of Pokemon, and I think that kind of shows that, yeah, there's move slots. So in Data Mine, there's placeholders for move slots. In the Data Mine, there's placeholders for pretty much all the Pokemon, and I don't know how they're going to do it. Like, what'd be really interesting is maybe they added Happenstance Island, another update, another boss for something like that, and that shows, like, Johto legendary Pokemon, or also how they're going to do the update when we transition into Johto. I think that might be worth its own video, like, because you can't just start off Johto 40,000 power level, or even 28,000 power level, and then scale it up exponentially from there. I think it's going to reset. But I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, playing through Pokemon Quest is fun. The speedrun, the replayability of even just going through the actual game itself isn't that terrible. And to actually do that, you just make a new profile. Make a new profile, you hop on Pokemon Quest, it has all the DLC ready, and then you get to start from scratch and maybe just do a different run. But the game has insane amounts of replayability. That you can either just like speedrun Happenstance Island, you can go for the perfect team with perfect stones, with perfect movesets. I've been playing the game for over 200 hours. I'm still constantly cooking. I'm still constantly trying to clear. I'm still constantly gathering ingredients. So that'd be cool if like there was a new batch of ingredients for Johto, or a new batch of Pokemon, or you just started from scratch and you got to take what you learned in the first playthrough of the game and then try to make a more efficient second playthrough with maybe Johto being slightly more difficult or having like a different challenge or a different gimmick around it. I think that would justify doing it again because, yeah, there's a lot of ways you can play Pokemon Quest. There's a lot of ways to get better. It's definitely not a simple, stupid Minecraft. Like, people look at the game, they see that it looks simple and they think it is simple, but it's actually insanely complex. I've done a lot of guides for it. There's a lot of depth. There's IVs. There's like cooking advances, there's different Pokemon move sets, there's move upgrades, there's move stones. There's infinite potential in this game to actually have an optimized playthrough, so it can definitely be expanded. I really hope that it starts winning people over. that I feel that people just see the failure inside of what Niantic did to Pokemon Go, and they're not giving any of these new spin-off games a chance with Pokemon. But definitely Pokemon Quest is worth a play. It's worth your money for DLC, and I really hope it gets updated so more people see the value inside the game. So if you guys enjoy the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.